Lord.
Yeah, I know. Well, if you've got your phones out, if you have reception here, if you look up Google Image and you type in Andre the Giant and ATV, you will find a picture of a big grinning giant sitting on a little three-wheeler all-terrain vehicle. It looks like a little tricycle from Seoul. And Andre, God bless him, we were filming in an area in England, in Derbyshire, called the Peak District. And it's well named because, if you remember the film, there's a lot of hills and peaks and valleys before we get to the fire squad, Buttercup and I. And that's where we shot all of that. And Rob, when he visited, Rob Reiner, the director, when he visited the location, he saw these peaks and valleys and he said, oh, this is great. We can shoot on top of the hill and get the vista and it's going to be beautiful. And the production manager turned to him and said, Rob, that's great, but how are we going to get Andre up here? And he went, oh, I hadn't thought of that. What, you know? So they went and asked Andre, because Andre couldn't, God bless him, 400 pounds, 450 pounds, 7 foot tall. He couldn't fit in the vehicle or the van that we used to get up to the set. So they went and asked him, they said, Andre, how do you get around on your farm in North Carolina? And if you look at this picture, you'll see Andre had an all-terrain vehicle. That's how he got around. And so we found him the only all-terrain vehicle in the UK in 1986, which was this little three-wheeler, like I said, which is, as you look on your phones, you'll see. And listen, Andre was already a happy-go-lucky guy. I mean, he always has this beautiful grin on his face. But once this thing showed up, my gosh, you've never seen a happier giant in your life. And he didn't just use it to get to the set. He was going around all the peaks and valleys all day long with crew running after him. It's the loudest thing, these things. They're so loud, and they'd be yelling after him, Andre, turn it off, we're shooting. He's like, ruling takes, you're flying behind this thing. So I'm shooting the scene with Robin where we fall down the hill and I say those 3 words. And so I'm preparing to shoot it, right? And I'm putting on my costume, and Andre comes rolling up on his own all-terrain vehicle, and he comes up like this. He goes, "Hey, boss." And what's so funny? He called everybody boss, which is hilarious because you had to speak to Andre like that. But he felt that it made people feel at ease if he called you boss, And he says to me, he goes, "Hey, boss, you like my toy?" You know where this is going, don't you? I said, it's very nice, Andre. Yes, it is. You want to try it? Well, Andre, I'm about to shoot a scene, and he didn't wait for you to finish. He went. So I shot a couple of takes with Robin, and then Rob Reiner, the director, prepared to shoot from another angle. And as I was waiting for that next setup, he comes up again. And this is what he says to me. I swear to God, he goes, "You know you want to." Now, when a 7'4" giant tells you you want to, there's something happens with your ego where you go, yeah, sure, why not? Just keep in mind. And I said, okay, sure. And I turned to the first assistant director and I said, do we have a few minutes? He goes, not really, but I guess for you. I took off my mask. I thought that would be helpful. I took off the mask. I could have better peripheral vision. And his bodyguard, he had a bodyguard. I swear to God. I said to this guy was like 5 foot tall. I said, what are you guarding him from, the flu? And the guy says to me, he goes, oh yeah, it's very easy, Governor. It's just like a motorbike, clutch, pedal, accelerator, on-off switch, lights, you won't need those. He says, it's very easy. Bob's your uncle. And that should have told me something. Right? So Andre gets off this thing, and it goes up another 8 feet after he gets off it, right? And I climb on this thing I have no business being on at all. And I put the clutch into first gear, and I lurch forward, right? And I didn't get more than 2 feet, and I went over a rock, and I caught my left big toe between the clutch pedal and the rock, and it just snapped. It was a very clean snap. I remember that, it was very clean. And it's funny, when you break a limb, it's amazing how quickly you begin to sweat. I never knew that until that moment. And now I'm freaking out, right? Because I'm thinking, oh, this is great. I'm a week into shooting and I just broke my left toe. And I haven't shot a single piece of the sword fight scene, nothing. And I thought, this is it. What I've done, I'm going to be fired for this. You know? So I'm trying to figure out what to do, and the crew come running up to me, and the set nurse, because there's always a set nurse on every show. And God bless her, this lovely Asian girl comes running up to me. She goes, oh, what happened, what happened? I said, well, I pretended I was the Black Knight from Monty Python. That's nothing, it's just a flesh wound, something. Nothing at all, don't worry about it. She goes, well, let's get the boot off, let's have a look at it. So they take my suede boot off, and then they take off my sock, and there's my toe, and it's really interesting, it's pointing sort of east instead of north. And it's all different colors and extraordinary. And she did this, she goes, ooh, not what you want to hear from a nurse when they look at something broken on you. And she goes, oh, look at that, that's broken. I said, no, it's just a flesh wound, nothing. It's probably just a sprain. She goes, no, look at it, it's pointing in the wrong direction and everything. It's got all the colours of the rainbow on it. And now I'm thinking, I've got to go and shoot the scene, because they're waiting for me. I'm thinking, if I don't show up to this, I'm going to be fired. And I said, well, what can you do? She goes, I'm a set nurse. She opens her bag, God bless her. She takes out a couple of pills. She goes, I've got something for a tummy ache. I've got something for a headache. I've got nothing for broken bones. I've got the hospital for that. And I knew that if I went to the hospital, Devin, I'm never coming back.
It's your third movie ever, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, ridiculous, right? So now I said to her, please, is there anything you can do? And she said, well, I could make a makeshift splint. I said, great, let's do that. And she grabbed a twig on the ground. She bent my toe back. It didn't hurt at all. Bent it back to where it should have been pointing, and then taped it to the other toes so it would stay there. It didn't hurt at all. Anyway, now it's all swollen and the boot won't fit, so they had to cut a hole in the back of the boot. And now I'm looking like a mess now. And I get in the van to drive up to the set, and it's the longest drive I've ever taken. And I overheard the set nurse turn to the first AD in the back. She goes, I think he fell on his head as well. Anyway, so we get to the set, and there's Rob Reiner waiting for me, and he's scratching his beard, right, like this. And I said to myself, Devin, I said, I'm just going to brazen this out and plow through it. And I walk up, I get out of the van, I step right on the broken foot. Oh, didn't hurt. And I said, hey Rob, how you doing? He goes, I'm good, how you doing? I said, I'm fine, what a lovely day. It's perfect for shooting this, isn't it? He goes, yeah, but how are you doing? And at that moment, Devin, I knew that he knew, right? So I said, Rob, I'm so sorry. I was fooling around on Andre's all-terrain vehicle, and I went over a rock, and I think I broke my toe. And he goes, you think I don't know? I'm the director of the movie. I know what's going on. He said, why didn't you tell me? I said, I was so afraid you'd fire me. And God bless him, this is what Rob said. He said, Cary, why would I fire you? You're the perfect Wesley. Who would I replace you with? And that made my heart feel so warm. I couldn't believe he was saying that. I almost cried. And I said, Rob, I'm so sorry. I feel like such a twig. He goes, well, can you run? I said, not so great. He goes, can you walk? I said, it'll be an interpretive dance. He said, okay, don't worry. We'll move the fight scene to the end of the movie, which he did, God bless him. We were supposed to shoot the fight scene in 3 weeks, and he moved it another 2 weeks to the end of the shoot to give me time to heal. But if you look at the scene where Robin and I are running into the fire swamp, you will see my interpretive dance. Not so much a hop not so much a run as a hop, really. We hop into the forest together. Anyway, that was a lesson for me that all-terrain vehicles are not toys. And even though Andre said it was wise. I don't recommend playing around with those things if you don't know what you're doing. They're very dangerous.
Well, it's like my mom always told me, when a giant offers you a ride on his trike, you say no. Did your mom tell you that?
It's hilarious. And when a giant offers you a ride on their all-terrain vehicle, just say no. But yeah, anyway, we got through that, thank God. And